The Valley's News Channel. This is Channel 5 News at 5.
Breaking news out of Willacy County. We have just learned the deputy who was involved in a crash we first told you about it at Channel 5 News at 4 has died.
Our John Bartella is live with the late breaking details. John?
Yeah, we've just learned the news moments ago. The Department of Public Safety released the name of the deputy, 52-year-old Alejandro Martinez. DPS also released images from the rollover. Now, this is the 2012 Chevy Tahoe that Martinez was driving. The accident happened shortly after 2 p.m. DPS tells us the deputy lost control of his vehicle and rolled into an open field. We're not going to go to a map of where the accident happened. Emergency crews found the vehicle near FM 490 and Sugar Mills Road. Now, this is just south of Raymondville, and this is an area surrounded by fields. We spoke to Willacy County Sheriff Larry Spence. The sheriff tells us the officer was not in pursuit at the time. Investigators are still looking into what caused the officer to lose control, and once again that he tells us that he was not in that pursuit at this time. And once again, the name of that officer is 52-year-old Alejandro Martinez, confirmed dead by DPS. Now we're going to be looking into everything, all of these, the latest details in this right now. Guys, back to you.
Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson is in the Valley right now. He's set to meet with Valley mayors, sheriffs, and other local leaders about how Obama's immigration announcement last night is going to affect the border.
Johnson spent much of the day meeting with Border Patrol agents. Channel 5's Erica Proffer spoke with him this afternoon. She is live outside the McAllen Border Patrol station with more. Erica?
Yeah, this is where Secretary Jay Johnson spoke to us about an hour ago. He told us that the DHS top priority is to go after the people who are here illegally but who have a criminal history, and especially those people who have gang ties and they're living here in the United States illegally. He said that those who cross here over the summer are also a focus. He said that is second priority. Now, anyone crossing in the future will take priority for removal over someone who is not a violent criminal and has been in the United States long enough to build a life here.
We are prioritizing those convicted of crimes, those who are members of gangs, those who are threats to national security, and those who are recent arrivals, because our borders are not open to illegal migration.
And earlier today, Secretary Johnson spoke to the local officers and agents, and he thanked them for handling and their involvement in the surge this summer. We are now editing that part of our coverage on this, and we expect to have that for you ready tonight at 6. We're live outside the McAllen Border Patrol Station. Erica Proffer, Channel 5 News at 5.
You know, U.S. immigration officials are preparing for the possibility of a second surge of illegal crossers within the next coming months. Much of the valley was at the center of the last wave earlier this year.
Yeah, many people considered Mission's Anzalduas Park as a hot spot for the surge. Kirk Chason reports from there.
So actually today it's been pretty quiet here at Anzalduas Park. Of course, we're right across the river from that little piece of Mexico that juts out into this shallow part of the river here. And of course, right across to our right, a large gathering of state trooper vehicles, which has been here since they started the surge earlier this year after that unprecedented wave of illegal immigration here at this spot and throughout the Rio Grande Valley sector. Now, the Border Patrol reports they apprehended more than 50,000 family unit members in the Rio Grande Valley sector in fiscal 2014. That's an increase of more than 500% from the previous fiscal year. They report apprehending more than 48,000 unaccompanied children, and that is an increase of 152% from the previous year. And of course, we all remember the images from this spot starting last March. Groups of people loaded up rafts and made the short trip across the shallow waters of the Rio Grande from the Mexican side. Mothers with children turned themselves in to Border Patrol agents. Local detention centers like the one in Brownsville began to overflow with unaccompanied children. Mothers and their children crowded into local bus stations like the one in McAllen. Catholic relief officials set up their own aid station at Sacred Heart Church in downtown McAllen. The government began to open new temporary shelters, first one at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. Homeland Security and immigration officials eventually built a new detention facility in McAllen that could house up to 1,000 illegals. Then they began building other facilities outside the valley, like the one in Karnes City. Now, just this week, immigration officials announced they are expanding another detention facility in the town of Dilley near San Antonio. That location will eventually be able to handle up to 2,400 immigrants at one time. Also today, the government issued new guidelines for immigration enforcement. More on that coming up at 6. Reporting from Ansel Duas Park, Kirk Chase on Channel 5 News at 5.
Well, last night was the prime time address. Today is a sales pitch. President Obama in Las Vegas for a campaign-style rally today. In his address last night, the president announcing ending deportation for some 5 million undocumented immigrants. He stated it is not granting them amnesty nor gives them permanent legal status, and it's only temporary. But according to a fact check by the Associated Press, the president's action does that. It will also make those covered eligible for work permits, allowing them to be employed in the country legally. The president added those covered by his action must also have a clean record. Not covered, as mentioned a moment ago, are the surge of people who crossed this summer and also others yet to enter illegally. Now, in Washington, Republicans say the president has overstepped his constitutional power.
The People's House will rise to this challenge. We will not stand idle as the president undermines the rule of law in our country and places lives at risk.
According to polling by Rasmussen Reports, prior to the president's executive action, 62% of voters signaled they oppose the president granting amnesty without the approval of Congress. 55% said Congress should challenge that action in court.
The White House says the new immigration orders will boost the economy. They say it will expand our labor force and increase worker productivity. Average wages are set to rise over the next decade. Obama's Council of Economic Advisors estimates the gross domestic product would rise by $90 billion, and wages for native workers will rise by 0.3%.
Well, immigration attorneys expect to be overwhelmed because of the executive orders. More than half of the 5 million eligible in the president's plan are right here in Texas. Immigration attorney Leonel Perez of Edinburgh says he's getting calls and questions from illegal crossers and has already met with dozens of people. Perez has a message to those looking to see if they qualify.
Assure yourself that you're eligible before you pay any money to anybody. Because unfortunately, this kind of business, and I've been around for 38 years, lends itself to a lot of scam artists.
Perez says to do some research before hiring and then paying someone to help file your documents.
A senior House Republican says it's impossible to block the president in an upcoming spending bill. The Citizenship and Immigration Services Agency gets its money through actual application fees, so Congress cannot stop it by withholding funding in a spending bill. A temporary government funding bill expires next month. Some conservative Republicans want to use a must-pass spending bill to stop the president's actions. A similar effort last year to block the new health care law led to a 16-day government shutdown. You know, speaking of affordable care, Republicans are wrapping up their legal case against the president. The House filed a lawsuit against the law today. They say Obama bypassed Congress and the Constitution by using his executive power to tweak the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Acts. The law was filed against the Departments of Health and Human Services and the Treasury.
We had a lot of clouds across the valley again today, some light rain and drizzle in spots, but now the sun tried to poke through those clouds, but the clouds will thicken up again tonight. Here's a look at your current temperatures. Everybody in the mid-70s right now. 74 to 76 is the range across the valley. Wind a little stronger today out of the southeast, about 14 miles an hour. We're keeping an eye out to the north for the potential for some showers, even thunderstorms tomorrow evening. We'll check that forecast for you and have an update in just a few minutes.
Some good news. The dirty water problem in San Benito is fixed. We're told the water is now running clear. A break in a water main earlier this week caused thousands of faucets to spew out yellow-tinted water. An independent contractor accidentally drilled through one of the main lines. Natural mineral deposits dislodged from the pipes changed the color.
This just into the Channel 5 newsroom. Harlingen police say they've arrested a 15-year-old who they believe stole thousands of dollars in electronics from an elementary school. We first told you about that break-in on Tuesday. Laptop computers totaling $3,500 taken from Ben Milam Elementary. Several classrooms were also ransacked and painted with graffiti. Harlingen police say they recovered 10 laptops from the juvenile's house. That 15-year-old at a detention center this afternoon. More arrests are expected. Ferguson, Missouri, bracing for a grand jury decision in the case of Michael Brown. The message today from the slain teen's father coming up.
And one person is dead after an oil rig exploded in the Gulf of Mexico. In about 2 minutes, what led to the explosion and what officials are saying about that oil on board. You're watching Channel 5 News at 5 this Friday. Stick with us.
Breaking news, breaking stories. This is Channel 5 News with Oscar Adame, Melissa Correa, and First Warn 5 Weather with Chief Meteorologist Tim Smith. This is Channel 5 News at 5.
Gift card with minimum purchase.
In Ferguson, Missouri, classes canceled next week out of fear of violent clashes that they could break out once again.
The grand jury expected to decide this weekend on whether or not the officer who killed Michael Brown will face charges. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez has the latest.
Tensions starting to build in Ferguson, Missouri. 3 protesters arrested last night as this community anxiously waits to learn if Officer Darren Wilson will be charged in the shooting death of unarmed teenager Michael Brown. Ahead of the grand jury's decision, Brown's father,
my name is Michael Brown, Sr.,
shared this public service announcement, pleading that there not be a repeat of the violence and clashes between protesters and police that shook this community in the weeks after the shooting.
Hurting others or destroying property is not the answer. No matter what the grand jury decides, I do not want my son's death to be in vain.
Today, Attorney General Eric Holder released his own video explaining that police have been given new guidelines for how to keep the community safe while allowing protesters to exercise their constitutional right.
The Justice Department encourages law enforcement officials in every jurisdiction to work with the communities that they serve to minimize needless confrontation.
Ferguson's police chief says his officers are trained and fully prepared for the unrest they're expecting once the grand jury releases their ruling.
We're preparing for the worst, but we're really hoping that the leadership that's coming out to protest, if they do, is going to try to keep it peaceful.
There's still no official timeline on when the grand jury's decision will be released, but there is speculation it could be as soon as this weekend. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Clayton, Missouri.
Well, the weekend is here, and it looks like it's going to warm up, but that chance of rain is with us, especially late tomorrow. When we come back, we'll update your First Warn 5 forecast for La Puerta, Monte Alto, Bayview, and the rest of the valley. Next.
with Chief Meteorologist Tim Smith.
Well, she's done it again. Look at all these caps. Pat, there she is, Pat Boink and her husband Bob. Pat knitted hundreds of these hats to give to our Tim's Coats project, and there they are. Bob and Pat collected them today, and we're going to get them out as quickly as we can to the folks who need them. There's all kinds of colors and shapes and sizes, and they're beautiful, and the people are awesome. Love these folks. Pat and Bob, thank you so much for doing this year after year after year. We're going to get those caps out to folks who need them as quickly as we can, so the next time the weather gets cold, people will keep their head warm. That's important. That's where heat escapes on those cold days. So thanks to Pat and Bob. She's been knitting for a year to get those for us. There's just a few of them. Out of 300 or so, I lost count at about 200 and still digging. So thanks. We really appreciate that. Let's look at today's weather. When I was meeting with them this morning, it was drizzling in Mission, and it's still kind of on and off clouds and a little light rain and drizzle. We look at WeatherBug. It's in McAllen right now, looking down at the expressway. It looks like it's mainly dry now. In fact, there's even some breaks in the clouds up there. A little sunshine, but not very much. That's McAllen Medical Center looking down at the expressway. Let's go back to the maps again, and let's take a look. Future Track says the clouds kind of come and go tonight, but they're really more here than not here, and the sprinkles and light showers will continue. This is through noon tomorrow, and then late tomorrow is when it gets a little more interesting, when this front, really kind of a dry line, pushes into the area. Yesterday we talked about how the biggest and the strongest of the storms are going to stay north of the valley, or at least they were likely to. We had about a 5% chance. Well, the chance of us seeing severe weather has jumped from 5 to 15% because the whole system's a little farther to the south, and now you can see some of those strong storms kind of sideswiping the valley or coming down into the northern half of the valley tomorrow evening into the late night hours tomorrow night. So something to be on the lookout for tomorrow. So the severe weather outlook for tomorrow has us in the 15% category, which is the biggest one on there now. They took out the 30% range. So from here all the way up to almost Dallas. Dallas up here in the 5% category, but from Waco to the valley, back to San Angelo, over to Louisiana, the potential for strong storms tomorrow, mainly tomorrow night. What are we talking about? Well, I think damaging wind is the biggest thing we could see. Hail, we don't think we'll see. Flooding, rainfall, no. There could be brief heavy rain, but not flooding. And the isolated tornado possibility, again, I think most of that stays to our north, but the chance does exist here as well. After that, things clear out. These are your current temperatures, 70s right now. There's your rain. We zoom out a little bit, look at the rest of the picture. In East Texas, seeing scattered showers all day today. There's the upper air low. That's what's causing this thing. It moves this way, and it's a little farther south. At least the models now say farther south than it was yesterday. That brings scattered showers and thunderstorms, brings us some action tomorrow night. After that, it clears out, and we're back to nice weather then from Sunday all the way through next week. So tonight, 68 for a low, cloudy with a spotty shower, a late thunderstorm possible tomorrow, slight possibility something could go severe with damaging winds. Be on the lookout for that tomorrow night. Keep it here on Channel 5 and on your Channel 5 app. We'll keep you posted. In the meantime, there you go. After tomorrow night, look at the sunshine, look at the cool temperatures. Highs in the low 70s, lows in the 40s and 50s. That's your updated First Warn 5 forecast.
The Florida State University gunman mailed mystery packages to friends just before yesterday's shooting. One arrived in Texas today. The details on that delivery straight ahead.
And the National Security Agency admitting U.S. computers systems can be hacked in minutes. How many countries could launch a cyber attack against a country? We'll be right back. We're following the latest in the Florida State University shooting. We learned the lawyer and FSU alum who shot 3 people yesterday messaged 8 friends to tell them they'd be receiving packages. One of those packages arrived in Texas today. It's now in the hands of the FBI. Authorities say the packages Myron May sent could contain videos and journals. Police officers killed May yesterday after he shot 2 students and a library worker. Authorities were expecting more packages to be delivered in several states. Florida police say it appears May thought the government was out to get him. 1 worker is dead, 3 others injured in an oil rig explosion in the Gulf of Mexico. The Echo platform is located about 12 miles offshore near the mouth of the Mississippi River. Houston-based Fieldwood Energy says a worker who was cleaning a piece of equipment when that explosion happened was killed instantly. The Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement says the rig was not producing oil at the time and no oil spilled into the Gulf.
China and at least 1 or 2 other countries has the capacity to launch a cyber attack that could cripple the power grid of the United States. The head of the National Security Agency told Congress the U.S. detected malware from China and elsewhere on the nation's computer system. Officials were worried about a coming trend of cyber attacks. Since October, the White House's computer system was breached, the personal data of more than 800,000 postal employees compromised, and 4 critical websites designed to prepare for extreme weather conditions sabotaged too. Crossing in the dark of night and living in the shadows, a thing of the past for dozens of Valley folks. Our Michael Scott tracked down a Mission family set to benefit from President Obama's immigration overhaul. You'll hear from them at 6.
And a Valley judge fined for alleged contribution violations. Rebecca Young breaking down this 17-page report in 30 minutes.
Are you sure it has the software? It has everything that we need. Are you sure? I have a case for it. Everything's in my car.
A closer look at parking lot peddlers. Do you know what to do if a stranger gets a little too close? We went undercover to test local shoppers. Did they follow the rules? Find out at 6.
And don't forget, we're in the middle of the Season of Giving. Channel 5 teaming up with Peter Piper Pizza for its 33rd annual Sharing Basket. You can be a big help. Just today, a Little League team from Mercedes donated some canned food.
Every member of the Hot Shots participated in our Sharing Basket. If you want to donate, oh, sorry, that's your read. Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
It's okay.
You're doing good.
I'm sharing the wealth this newscast. Go ahead.
Take your canned foods to any Peter Piper Pizza. Catholic Charities is going to be helping us bag that food on Tuesday. Then they'll be distributed to needy families just in time for Thanksgiving.
All right, let's take a look at the next few days. Tomorrow, there's a chance of strong thunderstorms late in the day. It's a possibility right now. I wouldn't call it a likelihood, but just one of those things. It's kind of a heads up. It could happen. So just be on the lookout for it just in case it does. Late in the day tomorrow into the evening hours. After that, though, boy, oh boy, does it get nice. Look at Sunday, 84, and then low 70s for highs and 40s and 50s for lows all the way into and through the Thanksgiving holiday. But just kind of keep on top of the weather tomorrow. And, of course, you can use your KRGV weather app to see what's going on. And count on Alan, who will be here tomorrow evening as well, just so you know if that stuff does develop. It's a chance. Not a big chance, but a chance nonetheless.
Thank you so much for sticking with us this week.
Yeah, have yourself a great evening. Bye-bye.
Closed captioning brought to you by